I won the $900 million lottery and kept it secret. I asked my sister for $50 to test her character and she said, "Get a job, you pathetic loser." So I cut her from my life forever and she never knew why. Hey lovelies. Subscribe if you enjoy stories like this, and let us know in the comments where you're joining us from. Now let's continue with the story. The fluorescent lights of the convenience store buzzed above me as I clutched the lottery ticket in my trembling hand. 3 weeks had passed since the drawing, and I'd checked those numbers every single day, convinced I was losing my mind. $900 million. The attorney sitting across from me at the downtown office had just confirmed it for the 7th time. "Ms. Johnson, you are officially the sole winner of the largest jackpot in state history." My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I thought about my sister Hannah and how she'd react. We'd grown up sharing everything: clothes, secrets, dreams. She was 2 years older and had always been my protector when Mama was too strung out to notice us. But something had changed in her over the years. Success had hardened her somehow. "I need time," I told the attorney, Michael Simmons, a distinguished man with kind eyes. "Nobody can know about this yet." He nodded, understanding in his expression. "Take all the time you need. We'll set up the trust, get everything structured. You have a year to claim it publicly." I walked out of that office building into the afternoon sun, a multimillionaire in a thrift store jacket. My phone buzzed, a text from my landlord. Rent was late again. I had $43 in my checking account. And somehow I knew I couldn't tell anyone yet. Something inside me whispered, "Wait. Test the waters first. See who people really are when they think you have nothing." Because money changes everything, and I needed to know the truth about the people in my life before everything changed forever. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe. This journey is just beginning. I grew up in a house where love was conditional. Mama had me when she was 19, Hannah when she was 17. Our father left before I could form memories of him, and Mama never recovered. She medicated her pain with whatever she could find, and we learned early that we only had each other. Hannah practically raised me. She was the one who braided my hair for school, who stole snacks from the corner store when our cabinets were empty. "I got you, baby girl," she'd whisper when I cried from hunger. "Always gonna have your back." I believed her with my whole heart. But somewhere between her full-ride scholarship and her corporate VP position, Hannah transformed. She moved to the expensive side of town, married Devon, a surgeon with cold eyes and an expensive smile. They had 2 kids I barely saw. Our phone calls became monthly, then quarterly. When I did see her, she'd critique everything: my clothes, my job, my lack of ambition. "You're 28 years old, still working retail," she said at her last birthday party, voice dripping with disappointment. "What happened to you?" "I worked hard to get where I am." The unspoken words hung between us. "Why didn't you?" What she didn't know was that I'd dropped out of college to take care of Mama during her final cancer battle. Hannah had been too busy to help. I held Mama's hand when she died, alone in that sterile hospital room. Hannah showed up for the funeral, cried beautifully, then went back to her perfect life. Now with $900 million in my future, I wondered, who was my sister really? The girl who protected me, or the woman who looked at me with contempt? I was about to find out. I decided to test Hannah first. She was the one who mattered most, the one whose betrayal would hurt deepest. I needed to know if any part of my real sister remained under that designer armor. My car had broken down. Actually broken down, not a fabricated story. The transmission was shot, and the repair shop quoted me $1,200 I didn't have. I needed to get to work or I'd lose my job at the department store. It was perfect timing. I called Hannah on a Tuesday evening. She answered on the 4th ring, irritation already in her voice. "Kind of in the middle of something, what's up?" "Hey Hannah. I know you're busy, but I'm in a bind. My car died and I need to get it fixed to get to work. Could you loan me $50? Just until next Friday." "Are you serious right now?" Her laugh was sharp, cutting. "You're calling me begging for money again? I've never asked you for." "You're always needing something," she interrupted. "Always got some crisis. You know what your problem is? You're stuck in poverty mentality. You don't want to work hard, you just want handouts." My chest tightened. Through the phone, I heard Devon's voice in the background. Is that your sister? Tell her we're not a bank. Hannah, it's $50. Get a job. Each word was a hammer blow. Actually, get a better job. Stop being a pathetic loser and figure your life out. I'm done enabling your failure. The line went dead. I sat in my tiny apartment staring at my phone, tears streaming down my face. This is the moment everything became clear. The sister I'd loved, who I'd sacrificed for, who I'd believed in, she was gone. Maybe she'd never existed. In her place was a stranger who saw me as nothing more than an embarrassment. I wiped my tears. Then I blocked her number. She'd made her choice. After Hannah's rejection, I decided to extend my test. I needed to understand the full scope of how my family and friends viewed me. Michael, my attorney, thought I was torturing myself, but I had to know the truth. My younger cousin, Brittany, was next. We'd been close growing up. She was only 3 years younger than me. I'd helped her with homework, covered for her when she snuck out. I called her about the same car situation. Girl, I can't, she said immediately. You know I'm saving for my trip to Cancun. Besides, you should have savings. That's what responsible people do. She was 25 and still lived with her parents rent-free. But I was the irresponsible one. My uncle, Mama's brother Raymond, was even worse. Your mama spoiled you girls, he said when I called. Thought the world owed you something. You need to learn life's hard. Maybe this'll teach you. This was the same uncle whose rent I'd paid when he got laid off 5 years ago. I'd given him $800 I couldn't afford. He'd never paid me back. My childhood friend Tasha at least was apologetic. I wish I could help, but Jerome just got laid off. We're struggling too. That one hurt less because it was honest. But then she added, maybe you should ask Hannah? She's got money. I almost laughed. If only she knew. The final test was my half-brother Marcus Jr. We called him MJ. He was from Mama's brief second marriage. I'd always been protective of him. When I called, he didn't even let me finish. Nah, I'm good, he said. You should hit up Hannah. She's loaded. She said no, I admitted. He laughed. Well, damn. Even your own sister won't help you? That's rough. No offer to help. No sympathy. Just confirmation that I was alone. I spent the next 3 days in a fog. Michael Simmons called to check on me and I broke down on the phone, telling him about every rejection, every cruel word. I'm sorry you're going through this, he said gently. But now you know the truth. Before the money changed everything. He was right. If I'd told them about the lottery first, they'd all be circling, hands out, claiming they'd always loved me. Hannah would call crying, talking about our childhood bond. Brittany would suddenly remember how close we were. Uncle Raymond would tell stories about how he'd always believed in me. The attorney helped me understand the pattern I'd been living in. You've been the giver in all these relationships, Michael explained. You gave your time, your money, your energy. And the moment you needed something back, they all disappeared. That's not family. That's exploitation. I thought about all the times I'd said yes when I should have said no. Birthday gifts I couldn't afford. Favors that cost me time and money. Always showing up, always being there. And the one time I asked for help, just $50, I was called pathetic. That night I wrote in my journal, they don't love me. They love what I do for them. The moment I couldn't give, I became worthless in their eyes. It was the most painful truth I'd ever written. But it was also liberating. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't ungrateful. I was simply surrounded by people who saw me as a resource, not a person. The money sitting in that trust wouldn't fix my family. It would just expose them further. If this story is resonating with you, please share it. Someone needs to hear this. Michael Simmons became more than my attorney, he became my mentor. He introduced me to his wife, Estelle, a financial advisor who'd grown up poor and understood the psychology of sudden wealth. The first thing you need to understand, Estelle said over coffee, is that claiming this money will make you a target. Everyone will want something. Family will crawl out of the woodwork with sob stories and demands. We spent weeks planning. I'd take the lump sum, around $487 million after taxes. We'd set up multiple trusts, create LLCs, invest conservatively. Estelle had a whole team. Accountants, investment advisors, even a therapist who specialized in sudden wealth syndrome. You need therapy, Estelle insisted. This kind of money combined with family trauma can destroy people. I've seen it happen. I started seeing Dr. Reeves twice a week. She helped me understand that my family's treatment of me wasn't new. The lottery test had simply revealed what was always there. I'd been trained since childhood to give, to sacrifice, to make myself small so others could shine. Your sister's cruelty wasn't sudden, Dr. Reeves explained. It's been building for years. You just made excuses for it because she's family. Meanwhile, I kept living my small life. I borrowed $50 from a coworker for the car repair and paid her back with interest the next week. She didn't know she'd shown me more kindness than my own blood. I watched Hannah's social media from my blocked account. She posted photos of her perfect life, her beautiful children, her expensive vacations. In one post she wrote, "Surround yourself with excellence. Cut off anyone who drags you down. #boundaries are healthy. #no toxic people." The irony was suffocating. I was the toxic one to her. Me, who'd loved her unconditionally my entire life. 3 months after the test, I ran into Hannah at the grocery store. I was in the produce section when I heard her voice behind me. "Well, look who it is." Her tone was icy. I turned, my heart pounding. She stood there in a designer outfit, perfectly styled, looking at me like I was gum on her expensive shoe. "Hey Hannah," I said quietly. "You blocked my number." It was an accusation, not a question. I needed space. She laughed harshly. "Space? Because I wouldn't give you money? Are you really that petty?" Something broke inside me. "You called me a pathetic loser for asking for $50. Because it's pathetic. You're almost 30 years old, still living in that dump, driving that beat-up car." She gestured at me like I was evidence of her point. "When are you going to get your life together?" Other shoppers were staring now. I felt heat rise to my cheeks, but underneath the embarrassment was something new, clarity. "I took care of Mama," I said, voice steady. "While you were building your career, I held her hand while she died. I dropped everything for her. And that's your choice to stay stuck," Hannah shot back. "I moved on. I built something. You use Mama as an excuse for why you're a failure." Devin appeared then, basket in hand. He looked at me with undisguised disdain. "Come on, honey. We have dinner reservations." Hannah gave me one last look. "Get yourself together, seriously. It's embarrassing." Then she walked away, heels clicking on the linoleum. I stood there, hands shaking, fighting tears. An elderly woman touched my arm gently. "Baby, that was your sister?" I nodded. "Then she's a fool," the woman said firmly. I heard what she said. "You're not the problem, sweetheart. She is." Those words from a stranger meant more than anything my sister had said in years. 6 months after winning, I was finally ready to claim my prize publicly. Michael had everything prepared. Press release, security measures, financial structures. We'd scheduled the announcement for the following month. Then MJ called. Not to my blocked number, he called from a hospital phone. "It's Uncle Raymond," the nurse said when I answered. "He had a massive heart attack. He's asking for family." My first instinct was to ignore it. But something, maybe the last shred of who I used to be, made me go to that hospital. I walked into the ICU waiting room to find MJ, Brittany, and Hannah already there. Hannah looked up, surprise flashing across her face. "What are you doing here?" "He's still my uncle," I said quietly. "The doctor came out an hour later. He needs a triple bypass. Without insurance, we're looking at around $150,000. The surgery is scheduled for next week, but without payment guarantee." Everyone looked at Hannah. She shifted uncomfortably. "We don't have that kind of liquid cash right now. Devin's practice is doing well, but we have expenses, the kid's private school." "Can't you take a loan?" MJ asked desperately. "For him." Hannah gestured toward the ICU. "He's never been responsible with money. He'd probably blow it on." "He's dying," I interrupted. "We're all dying eventually," Hannah said coldly. I'm not bankrupting my family for someone who never helped himself. Brittany was crying. MJ looked devastated. And I stood there watching my family fall apart over money, knowing I had more than enough to save him without feeling it. The bitter irony was exquisite. There has to be something, the doctor said gently. Hannah stood up, grabbing her purse. I've done what I can. Devon and I have responsibilities. She looked at me before leaving. Maybe if you had a real job you could help. The venom in those words should have hurt. Instead I felt nothing. I sat with that decision for 3 days. Uncle Raymond was dying and I could save him with what amounted to pocket change from my winnings. But he was the same man who'd called me irresponsible, who'd mocked my struggles while never repaying the money I'd given him. Dr. Reeves helped me work through it. This isn't about him, she said. It's about who you want to be. Money gives you power, but it also gives you choices. What choice can you live with? I thought about Mama, who'd loved her brother despite his flaws. I thought about the person I'd been before the lottery, someone who gave even when it hurt. And I realized, I didn't want the money to change my core values. I just wanted it to free me from people who exploited those values. I called Michael. Pay for the surgery. Anonymously. Are you sure? He asked. Yes. But I want it structured so it goes directly to the hospital. No one in my family can know it came from me. As far as they're concerned, it's a charitable organization. Within 24 hours, the hospital called MJ to tell him that a foundation had covered Uncle Raymond's entire surgery and recovery costs. I watched from a distance as my family celebrated this miracle, never knowing I was behind it. Hannah posted on social media, God is good. When we trust in Him, He provides. My uncle's surgery is paid for through the kindness of strangers. Faith over fear. I stared at that post for a long time. She'd spent $0 and was taking a spiritual victory lap. Meanwhile, I'd spent $150,000 and remained invisible. Uncle Raymond's surgery was successful, but the recovery revealed fractures in my family I'd never fully seen. MJ called me 2 weeks later, voice tight with anger. Hannah's trying to get Uncle Raymond to sign over his house to her, he said. She's telling him he needs professional management of his assets since he can't take care of himself. Uncle Raymond's house was worth maybe $80,000. Nothing to Hannah, but it was all he had. Can she do that? I asked. If he's on enough medication and scared enough, yeah. She's got Devon drawing up papers. She's calling it family asset protection. I felt sick. This was who my sister had become. Someone who'd exploit a vulnerable, recovering man for a house she didn't need. I hired a patient advocate to visit Uncle Raymond, someone who could explain his rights without revealing my involvement. The advocate recorded Hannah's visits. What she captured was chilling. You can't live alone anymore, Uncle Ray, Hannah's voice on the recording. What if you have another heart attack? Sign the house over to me and I'll make sure you're taken care of. Otherwise, you'll end up in some state facility. He was lying. His doctors had cleared him for independent living with basic support services. When the advocate presented him with his actual options, Uncle Raymond broke down crying. I thought I had to, he sobbed. She made it sound like I had no choice. MJ was the one who confronted Hannah. I heard about it from Brittany, who was there. He called her out in front of everybody at Sunday dinner, Brittany told me, voice shaking. Said she was no better than a vulture. Hannah lost it, screaming that nobody appreciated her, that she was the only successful one in the family. What did she say about me? I couldn't help asking. Brittany was quiet. She said you were proof that some people are born to fail. I claimed my lottery prize on a Tuesday morning in March. Michael and Patricia were with me along with a security team. The press conference was mandatory. State law required public disclosure of lottery winners. The cameras flashed as I signed the enormous check. Questions came rapid fire. What will you do with the money? How does it feel? Any big plans? I kept my answers vague, professional. I'm grateful. I plan to invest wisely and help others. What I didn't say, I'd already helped. My family just didn't know it. The news exploded across local media by noon. By evening it was national. Local retail worker wins $900 million lottery. My face was everywhere. My phone, the new one I'd bought and given the number only to Michael and Dr. Reeves, stayed silent. But I checked my old social media from a fake account. The posts were coming fast. Hannah's was first. So proud of my baby sister. We always knew she'd make it big. Family is everything. #proud sister #family first. She'd posted a throwback photo of us as kids, her arm around me. The caption painted us as inseparable. The comments flooded in, beautiful. Family goals. You must be so happy for her. MJ posted, my sister just won $900 million. Dreams do come true. Love you, sis. Brittany, my cousin is a millionaire. Time to celebrate. Call me girl. Even Uncle Raymond, barely recovered from surgery, managed to post, my niece won the lottery. Always knew she was special. They'd all unblocked my old number. My phone, sitting in a drawer at home, was probably exploding with messages I'd never read. The strangest part was watching them rewrite history publicly. Suddenly they'd always believed in me. Always supported me. We were a close, loving family. The narrative they created for the world bore no resemblance to the truth. They found my new address within 48 hours. Probably through property records Michael hadn't sealed quickly enough. I'd moved into a modest but secure apartment in a gated community. Not a mansion, not yet. I was still adjusting. Hannah was the first to show up. The doorman called up. "A Hannah Richardson is here to see you. She says she's your sister." "Tell her I'm not available," I said. 30 minutes later she was back with Devin and the kids. "She says it's a family emergency." I went down to the lobby. Hannah rushed forward, arms outstretched for a hug. I stepped back. Her arms dropped, hurt flashing across her face. Real or performed, I couldn't tell anymore. "Why haven't you answered my calls?" she demanded. "Do you know how worried I've been?" "Worried about what?" I asked calmly. "About you. This is overwhelming, sudden wealth. You need family support." She glanced at Devin, who nodded supportively. "We want to help you manage this responsibly. Like you wanted to help Uncle Raymond manage his house?" Her face froze. "What are you talking about?" "I know what you tried to do." The patient advocate recorded everything. Devin stepped forward, lawyer mode activated. "That was a misunderstanding. Hannah was trying to protect him. By stealing his house." I let the words hang there. Hannah's mask cracked. "I don't know what lies people have told you, but I'm your sister. We're blood. You know me." "I do know you," I agreed. "I know exactly who you are." "What's that supposed to mean?" Her voice rose, drawing looks from the lobby attendants. "You called me a pathetic loser for asking for $50, I said clearly. 7 months ago. You told me to get a job. You said I was embarrassing." Her mouth opened, closed. I was having a bad day. "I didn't mean." "You meant every word. And now I have money, so suddenly I'm worth your time again. That's not fair." Tears welled in her eyes and I wondered if she'd practiced this. "You're my sister. I've always loved you. When's my birthday, Hannah?" Silence. "How long has it been since you asked how I was doing?" "Before the lottery." More silence. "We're family," she whispered, and those tears fell now. "Doesn't that mean anything?" "It should have. God, it should have meant everything. But I was done bleeding for people who only loved what I could give them." "It meant everything to me," I said softly. "But not to you. Not until I had something you wanted." I turned and walked back to the elevator. Behind me, Hannah called my name, voice breaking. I didn't look back. The elevator doors closed on her tearful face and I felt nothing. Just an enormous, hollow absence where my sister used to live in my heart. A year has passed since I claimed my prize. Uncle Raymond is healthy now, still living in his house, still unaware I saved his life. MJ reached out a few times before giving up. Brittany sent a long apology email that felt rehearsed. I never responded. Hannah tried the hardest. Letters, emails, showing up at places she thought I'd be. Each message the same. I'm sorry. I love you. Family is forever. Please. Her last letter arrived 2 months ago. In it, she finally admitted what she'd said that day on the phone. I was cruel. I was wrong. I've changed. Please give me a chance. Maybe she has changed. Maybe losing me taught her something. But I'll never know, and I've made peace with that. I've built a life I never dreamed possible. I've donated millions to cancer research in Mama's name, funded scholarships for people who've had to drop out of school to care for family members. I've helped strangers who'll never know my name because that's who I am, not because of the money but despite it. Dr. Reeve says I'm grieving, and she's right. I'm grieving the family I thought I had, the sister I believed in. But I'm also free in ways I never was before. Free from the obligation to make myself small. Free from people who saw me as a resource instead of a person. Free to choose who gets access to my life, my energy, my love. Sometimes I think about that $50 phone call. If Hannah had said yes, even a reluctant yes, would I have told her everything? Would our relationship be different now? I'll never know. That test revealed a truth that was always there. I was only valuable to her when I could give her something. The saddest part is she'll probably never understand what she lost. Not the money, she doesn't need my money. She lost me. The sister who would have given her everything, who loved her unconditionally, who saw her as family no matter what. That's the real price of her cruelty. Not the fortune she'll never access, but the relationship she destroyed without even knowing it. I've learned that blood doesn't make you family. Love, respect, and reciprocity do. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to see your worth. Especially when they're family. I won $900 million. But the real prize was learning who deserved to be in my life and having the courage to let go of those who didn't. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share your own experiences in the comments. Remember, you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Choose yourself. You deserve it.